Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. Got our Hell in a Cell review here for you guys here today. Man, it was a good pay-per-view in my opinion. Before we get down to business, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, let's get down to this and try to get through this quickly as possible. We had 8 matches last night, and it was a good show. Oh man, I'm gonna be a little bit critical here in a minute, but it could have been so much better. It really could have. So yeah, I didn't watch the pre-show. I caught a couple minutes of it and I turned it off. I was watching the first hour there of No Way Out 1998, and then the pay-per-view started here. So might be pushing No Way Out to later this week, guys. Sorry about that, but you know, things just got busy yesterday and I want to report on Hell in a Cell there. So Cedric Alexander, Lince Dorado, and Sin Cara defeated Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Arya Daivari. And is it me, or does Lince Dorado look like Kalisto? Because, man, I thought that was Kalisto on the apron there for a minute. So I didn't see the match. I watched a couple minutes of it, but my main focus is on the main pay-per-view. I've watched a couple of pre-shows. It's more of a waste of time to me than anything, you know. They're just going over the matches that are going to happen, and the pre-show is just something for, like, the attendance there to get involved with. The opening match, like I predicted, was Roman Reigns defending against Rusev in a Hell in a Cell match. And I'll tell you right now, I went 6 for 7 in my predictions, which is pretty good. And I really thought Rusev was going to win the match here at one point. Choking Reigns with the chain in the Accolade on the steel steps. That was a hell of a spot there. And here comes Reigns powering out, hits the Samoan drop on the steel steps, and jumps off the steps, spears Rusev, retains the title. Pretty cool cell match. They used kendo stick and steel steps throughout the match. You know, your usual Hell in a Cell spots, you know, using the cage and bouncing off each other. It was decent, a nice opener. Next match was Bayley against Dana Brooke. Something is really off with this match. I don't know if, you know, they were rushing it or they just didn't give them enough time. They just might not have had chemistry this night. Bayley defeats Dana Brooke. Nothing really special there. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson demolishing Enzo and Cass. Awesome match there. For as quick as it was a good match. And you know, already, you know, we're 4 matches into the main show, and we have our second Hell in a Cell match. This is definitely the match of the night. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Awesome Hell in a Cell match. You know, they start off early. Owens is working the back, and he rips this athletic tape off of Rollins' back, and he's bashing his back in off the steel post or what used to be a steel post is now a LED screen. Rollins sets up a couple of tables outside, or Rollins sets up one table, then Owens sets up another table like that on the ring apron and hooks it inside the cell. And man, they go for a power bomb and they almost botched it. Rollins has Kevin Owens, who is a big boy, and he is almost head on the mat. Rollins powers him up, and you gotta give Owens credit here because, you know, he definitely helped Owens bring him up, or Rollins bring him up. Brings him up for that power bomb, and he was gonna do a buckle bomb, but through those two tables, man, that was a sweet spot. Later on in the match, Jericho comes down. Well, let's go back. Kevin Owens pulls out a fire extinguisher from under the ring. And it's like he's not sure how to use it. He's holding up the end there where the smoke comes out. And the referee is sticking his head out of the rope. Kevin Owens turns it on and blasts the referee in the face. Oh man, I laughed so hard at that. So the other outside referee opens the cage door and he's attending to the other ref while Jericho runs down, locks the cage, and now he's inside the cell with Owens and Rollins. Jericho receives a chair shot and a pedigree for his night. They end up attacking Rollins with a chair, double teaming him. Kevin Owens ends up power bombing Rollins through two steel chairs for the win and retains the Universal Championship. Very good match. And I kind of felt bad for Kendrick and Perkins here, being after that Hell in a Cell match. And Owens and Rollins definitely should have been the main event. That's my opinion. That's nothing against Charlotte and Sasha Banks, but it was an off night for the women, definitely. Kendrick defeats Perkins by submission. He's the new Cruiserweight champion. And you kind of feel bad for Perkins because he didn't really get over. You know, Perkins was Kendrick was the older guy, the more well-known guy. So he kind of got over by default. And that's WWE's fault. They're not getting the characters over. They're not giving them airtime, promo time. They're not giving them backstage segments. So Kendrick asked Perkins to lay down for him so he can, fulfill his dream. And he ends up, using the wrist tape or something like that for to tie him up and make him submit. Cesaro and Sheamus defeat the New Day by disqualification. I'm not really surprised by the finish here. It does, continue the story on, and New Day remaining tag team champions. It's something different than a regular New Day win. Kofi Kingston is getting into a dispute with Sheamus outside. Sheamus has the trombone there, and Kofi does the Trouble in Paradise, while Cesaro's got the sharpshooter on Xavier. He's tapping out, but the ref calls for the disqualification. Main event time. Sasha Banks and Charlotte. Charlotte comes out like the queen